Hey everyone, Marco here. Remember the golden age of real-time strategy games, all-night Warcraft LAN parties and endless matches of Age of Empires? Well, a new game called the Scouring has just dropped, and it's here to scratch that itch. It's part RTS, part MOBA, all nostalgia, and just with enough fresh ideas to keep you hooked. It's got different game modes, mod support, online multiplayer, a map editor, and even some great visuals. However, it is still in early access, so the minimal content might drive some of you away. But if you're even a little bit interested, then keep watching, as today I'm sharing a fun little RTS adventure that totally caught me off guard. When I first saw the trailers of this game, I honestly couldn't figure out how it was played until I actually tried it. That's because the Scouring is actually two games in one. Well, for now that is. I'll get to that later. One part is a classic RTS, like Age of Empires or Warcraft. The other is a MOBA, similar to Dota or League of Legends. This depends on the game mode that you choose, Classic or Heroes. In Classic, you gather resources, build up your army, and destroy the enemy base, standard RTS 101. In Heroes mode though, the AI handles the building an army for you, so you can just focus on your hero, using sweet abilities to take out your rivals. It's easy to see that the developer really wanted to get the basics right instead of just copying what everyone else was already doing. And get this, it's being made by a solo developer, Pavel Zagrabelny, the same guy behind Spin Tires, the off-road sim that led to the Mud Runner and Snow Runner series. Now personally, I loved Spin Tires, and it was clear to see that the man puts a lot of passion into his games, but I guess now he wanted to try something different, and that's exactly what he did. Now I'll be skipping any kind of story or plot because right now there isn't one, at least not until the campaign arrives. For now it's just orcs versus humans. Currently you get 8 maps and 2 custom scenarios, but the modding community is already hard at work, as you can easily download a lot more. The game comes with standard RTS parameters like your difficulty, which is currently only easy and hard. Easy can be a bit too easy, and hard is just hard all the time. Hopefully a medium difficulty will be added in soon. It also throws in an optional game script like this one, Curse of the Undead. This adds random mobs that enter your base at night to attack you. I think it's to prevent early rushes, but I struggle with multitasking as it is, so I just turned it off. You'll also have health potions, which is a neat way to heal your melee units, and there's even an AI assistant that basically plays the game for you unless you create a controlled group. So if you really want to take it easy, then I guess that mode is for you. But jumping in. When choosing the classic mode, you'll see gold and wood as resources to collect. If your units start to slow down and complain about food, that's because you need farms to keep them happy. They can actually starve and die, which is a very interesting resource mechanic you don't often see. After your peasants are set to work, you'll need a barracks to build an army. To me, the Scouring takes many RTS elements and simplifies them. So while it might look a bit basic, the developer made sure the fundamentals worked perfectly first. You can build a maximum of 5 units from any building. The buildings themselves are simple and easy to distinguish, but more on the UI later. You first start with your main base, and then each race has a small roster of other buildings. Coming from Age of Empires with its myriad of buildings and upgrades, this was surprising. It's like the devs just wanted to strip away all the fat and optimize the strategy without overwhelming you. Some might not enjoy this, but for someone whose reflexes in games are now so slow I can't even blame the lag. This was refreshing, and I just had to focus on where I was lacking. One thing I really loved was that the units gain veterancy based on the number of kills they get, something I always missed after playing Company of Heroes. Also, I did test out an online match, and while games were few, the one I played had no issues, well, until I got stomped on in a few minutes. Overall, I really enjoyed my time in the classic mode. It has all of the quality of life features of a modern RTS while keeping the original feeling alive. Sure, you won't have the biggest armies of all time, and it is lacking in some of the units and buildings, but it's more about these small victories that kept me playing, learning effective counters and how to position myself correctly. Then I jumped into the Heroes mode, which I must say I enjoyed slightly more than the classic. I'm terrible with MOBAs, but in the Scouring it felt good knowing that I didn't have to understand years of meta to have a good time. You start at level 1, so killing waves of creeps helps, as well as finding and clearing mob camps. Some of the areas are these underground dungeons, which is a neat touch. I guess you go in, you kill some undead and a mini boss, and then it gives you an item. Now the items are interesting interesting. They give your hero mini boosts like critical hit chance, mana regen, and speed, and so on. You can also buy items at your base, as well as more health and mana potions, which again is an interesting twist. You could be destroying your enemy and they just pop a bunch of bottles like a G6 and just keep fighting. And if you're in a pinch, you can emergency teleport back to base unless you get stunned, and if you die, you'll just have to wait a minute or so until you have to respawn. This teleport ability makes the gameplay so intense, as it can change the tide of battle in an instant. You always have to watch your back and then try and remember who died, because unlike new MOBAs, there's no easy way to know who's in battle and who's not. Looking back at your base, it runs itself, much like the AI mode in Classic. However, pressing N makes these Gondor-like horns go off, and it tells nearby units to follow you, which is awesome. Leading a small troop into battle is so very cool. The heroes themselves are not too bad. You get your standard range of fantasy heroes to choose from, and some might find them a bit too simple, with only 2 or 3 special abilities, but you still have to manage your cooldowns and know when to attack and when to flee. I played various setups and maps, but the 4v4 heroes mode is just pure chaos, especially on a map with choke points like these. The fighting animations are great too, especially when the cannons hit a group of enemies and they just all go flying. Speaking of which, I just really like the graphics. They're cozy but not too cozy, and the day to night transitions create some of the most majestic sunrises I've seen since Valheim or V Rising, although I do think they have to tone it down a notch. Building destruction isn't too bad either, and don't even get me started on the profile of your unit that basically shows you exactly what they're doing, except most of the time it's like they're just going full out at a rave. But it's the little details that make it special, like the water animations and your troops using shields and other animations that bring it to life. However, the sounds were a bit of a hit and a miss. Like this one time I heard cannons going off in the distance, which had this eerie feel to it. It was very cool. But then I have to say the unit dialogue gets a bit repetitive and annoying, and also I feel like the ranger is Afrikaans. I always hear Gister, but I could be wrong. Maybe other Afrikaans peeps help me out. Now, as fun as the game is, the biggest question is replayability. With it being in early access, it's hard to say and will depend on how much you like what you're seeing. Your best bet now is to play with a friend or two or just go in solo. But what I think will keep people coming back is the modding community, especially since it's so easy to use and there are already a whole bunch to choose from. It sucks that there's no campaign, but that's coming with the full release. However, I could easily play the heroes mode for hours, trying out different heroes and maps, and the same goes for the classic mode too. So as far as early access goes, I'm extremely confident that it's going to do well. The developer has already churned out multiple patches since it appeared on Steam, and the roadmap is exciting, including additional races, a UI rework, new items, and hero abilities. I am hoping for a mode that combines the classic and hero mode so that it just goes full on Warcraft, but right now it's still fun playing them side by side. I guess all that remains is the price point. Right now it's set at around $23. That might seem a bit high for an early access game, but compared to other RTS games out there, it's really not that bad. For me, besides the lack of content, I really enjoyed my time and highly recommend it if you're looking for your next fantasy RTS or MOBA experience. But that wraps up my video. Will you be getting this game? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments section below. Lastly, shout out to my channel members. Seeing your names always makes my heart all warm inside. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games. And as always, don't stop gaming.